What would you do if the place you called home turned against you over a single fish? In the quiet town of Willow Creek, where the air smelled of pine and the lake shimmered like a mirror under the summer sun, I, Marcus Reed, learned the answer the hard way. My story isn't just about a lake or a fish, it's about pride, betrayal, and the staggering cost of human folly. It all began on a humid July morning in 2023. I'd moved to Willow Creek 2 years prior, seeking solace after a messy divorce. The small lake behind my property was my sanctuary. I'd sit by its edge, casting my line, watching the ripples spread like whispers. The fish were few, but the peace was plenty. That morning, I hooked a bass, nothing extraordinary, just a wriggling prize to grill for dinner. As I reeled it in, I noticed a figure watching from the shore. Karen Mitchell, the HOA president, stood with her arms crossed, her lips pursed like she'd bitten a lemon. "You can't fish here, Marcus," she called out, her voice sharp enough to slice through the morning calm. "It's against the rules." I laughed, thinking she was joking. "It's my lake, Karen. I own the land, the water, everything." Her eyes narrowed. "The HOA governs all water bodies in Willow Creek. You need permission." I shook my head, baffled. The deed to my property, signed and notarized, clearly stated the lake was mine. I checked it twice when I bought the place. But Karen wasn't one to back down. She was the kind of person who thrived on control, her clipboard a scepter, her rules a kingdom. I shrugged and went inside, assuming she'd let it go. I was wrong. By noon, 2 police officers knocked on my door. Officer Daniels, a burly man with a tired expression, held up a complaint form. "Sir, we got a call about illegal fishing. Mind stepping outside?" I explained the situation, showed them the deed, even offered to pull up the county records. They nodded, apologized, and left. I thought that was the end of it. But Karen wasn't done. The next day, a cease and desist letter arrived from the HOA threatening fines and legal action if I fished again. I ignored it, casting my line defiantly that evening. The lake was mine. They couldn't stop me. Then came the twist I never saw coming. A week later, I spotted a new face by the locky, a lanky teenager with a mop of red hair, tossing pebbles into the water. His name was Ethan, Karen's nephew, visiting for the summer. He seemed out of place, his eyes darting nervously as if he expected trouble. I struck up a conversation, and he confessed he loved fishing but wasn't allowed. "Aunt Karen says it's bad for the ecosystem," he mumbled, kicking dirt. "Ecosystem?" I scoffed. "This lake's been fine for decades." Ethan's face lit up when I offered to let him fish with me. Over the next few days, we bonded over bait and stories. He was a quiet kid, raised by Karen after his parents passed, and I sensed a loneliness in him that mirrored my own. But Ethan was also my glimpse into Karen's world, a world of rigid rules and unspoken fears. One evening, as we fished, Ethan let slip something that froze my blood. "Aunt Karen's been talking to developers," he said, eyes on the water. "She wants to drain the lake, sell the land for condos. Says it'll fund the HOA for years." I stared at him, the pieces clicking. The fishing ban wasn't about rules, it was about control, about clearing the way for a bigger plan. Karen wasn't just a busybody. She was orchestrating something far greedier. I thanked Ethan and sent him home, my mind racing. If the HOA was plotting to seize my lake, I needed proof. I started digging. Late nights poring over public records revealed the HOA had been quietly lobbying the county to reclassify my lake as a community asset. If they succeeded, they could claim eminent domain, drain the water, and sell the land. The estimated profit? $3.2 million. My lake, my sanctuary, was just a dollar sign to them. Fury burned in my chest, but I stayed calm. I needed a plan. I hired a lawyer, Sarah, a sharp-witted woman who'd taken on HOAs before. She uncovered a paper trail, mails, meeting minutes, even a memo from Karen to a developer promising unobstructed access to the lake. But the real bombshell came from Ethan. One night, he slipped me a USB drive. "I found this in Aunt Karen's office," he whispered. "Don't tell her it was me." The drive contained recordings of HOA board meetings. Karen's voice, cold and calculated, laid out the plan. Discredit Marcus, enforce the fishing ban, pressure him to sell. They'd even bribed a county official to fast-track the reclassification. Ethan's betrayal of his aunt was a twist I hadn't anticipated, but it gave me the ammunition I needed. Sarah and I built a case, filing a lawsuit against the HOA for fraud, conspiracy, and violation of property rights. The courtroom was a battlefield. Karen sat across from me, her face a mask of indignation, but I saw the cracks her nervous glances, the way her hands trembled when Sarah presented the recordings. The judge, a no-nonsense woman named Clara Holt, didn't mince words. "This is a gross abuse of power," she declared. The HOA's defense crumbled. The verdict came swiftly. The HOA was ordered to pay $3.2 million in damages, ironic, the exact amount they'd hoped to gain. My lake remained mine, untouchable. The town buzzed with the news, and Karen's reputation shattered. She resigned as HOA president, her clipboard kingdom in ruins. I should have felt triumphant, but as I stood by the lake, watching the sunset, a hollowness settled in. Ethan stopped coming by. I learned from a neighbor he'd been sent to live with another relative, punishment for his role in exposing Karen. The kid who'd found solace in fishing, who dared to defy his aunt's iron grip, was gone. I pictured him somewhere, staring at a different body of water, his rod untouched. The victory tasted bitter. I'd won my lake, but at what cost? Karen's greed had destroyed her, but it had also torn Ethan from the one place he felt free. I cast my line into the lake, the water swallowing it silently. The fish weren't biting tonight, and maybe that was fitting. This wasn't about fish anymore. It was about the price of standing your ground, the collateral damage of justice. I'd fought for what was mine, but the ripples of that fight had swept away something innocent. As the stars emerged, I wondered if Ethan would ever fish again, or if the lake, like me, would carry the weight of his absence forever. ND.